points, but they kind of buried the lead, which I think is when you talk to pollsters and they talk about the upcoming election, one of the most important things is energy and enthusiasm. And those who are most enthusiastic right now are Republican voters. What this is all going to boil down to is who shows up to vote and who they vote for. So if Republicans are more enthusiastic, you're more likely to get a much stronger turnout amongst Republican voters.
Do you think that's the theory of the case, that they believe this is a base election and that there are no swing voters left? Michelle?
No, I think that they would be fooling themselves if they didn't think that there are any swing voters left. I think there are definitely swing voters left, but I think that they also feel that they have to hammer in on the economy because that's really the only issue where the Romney campaign seems to have an argument that people might be willing to listen to. We've said it time and time again, though. To me, the big issue is it the economy or is it going to be demographics? And you look at that bump coming out of the Democratic convention, and I think it leads to the conclusion that there is going to be a heavy emphasis from the Obama campaign on demographics because there are many, many people who feel left out, and if those people show up in large numbers, it could be a slim victory,
Dan, I feel like
for the president.
The two of them have sort of captured, right, the two theories of the case here, right, which is the Obama campaign betting that basically, the numbers are on their side, state by state. They've put Romney in a demographic box. Meanwhile, Romney still thinks eventually there's going to be a bunch of these voters that say, wait a minute, we just got to go somewhere else.
And the truth is with 2 months left, either side in the end could be right. I think one of the interesting things about Neil's memo is the line, the basic structure of the race has not changed significantly.
But I was just going to say he threw that word in there. I mean, I was
right. And up to now, everything anybody would have written, whether it was Neil Newhouse or Joel Benenson or the Obama campaign or any of us, would have been the basic structure of the race has not changed for months. So to say it's not changed significantly suggests there has been a small change as a result of the convention. We don't know how much, and we don't obviously whether it's lasting.
Susan, the big issue, of course, to me when I look at this is that at this moment in time, when you looked at a Bill Clinton, when you looked at when the other party was on the verge of winning the presidency, it was at this moment in time we were talking about new states. And the fact of the matter is it's the same 9 states that we've had in toss-up. They finally are advertising in Wisconsin. Of course, some of us are wondering what took so long. But no Pennsylvania, no Michigan. They're still got a narrow path.
That's true. And really, it's so early right now. It's only just a couple days after the convention for the Democrats ended. We really have to wait to see what some polls look like.
I'm with you there.
Next week.
I think September 15th is like when you measure the bounce.
That's exactly
when you measure the bounce. And one of the ways that I want to measure the bounce is not head-to-head. It's more on for Romney likability and for the president. It is on these feelings.
And that's when those swing states are really going to matter. Let's look and see what happens then.
I want to bring up something Romney said on Meet the Press on this issue of empathy. Here's what he said.
I really think that those people that try and minimize the feeling and the connection we have with the American people really miss the mark very badly. And they're trying to divide Americans based on who has money and who is able to achieve success and who does not have as much.
Michelle, I was struck. It was in that answer, also in Ann Romney's answer. They really, and this to me, it's all about Ohio, right? Why is Ohio, why are they behind in Ohio? That the Romney folks and the Romneys, I think, personally feel as if there have been unfair personal attacks on their wealth.
Yeah, I'm sure that they feel that way, and maybe, I don't know if the attacks are fair or unfair, but if you talk to people who are unemployed, who are underemployed...
They've worked. Whatever it is, fair or unfair, they seem to have worked in Ohio.
It has absolutely worked in Ohio. It's going to work in other states. Coming out of the Republican convention, the big empathy factor, the person who you ended up being enthusiastic about and liking was Ann Romney, and she's not running for president. It is her husband. Coming out of the Democratic convention, you got a feeling from every single speaker that they understand what is happening to people who are unemployed.
But empathy isn't everything.
No.
But likability coupled with empathy.
Oh, empathy isn't everything, and this race still is much more about the economy than it is about empathy and likability.
And the economy is improving in Ohio, and that's part of the reason why they're doing better.
All right, stick around. Let's bring back the panel. Dan Balls, Michelle Bernard, and Susan Ferrechio. Susan, does the Romney campaign need to provide more specifics on their tax plan before the debate so that they take away that talking point from the president before the first debate?
Well, first they were criticizing Romney because his tax plan was complicated. It had 54 points, remember that?
59,
just
don't forget
59 points. I was like, oh, he's got to simplify. Then he gets up there and he breaks his whole economic plan into 5 points.
Sure.
And now everyone's saying...
Well, he was getting criticism from Republicans at the time for not being simple enough for this.
But you really can't. You can't be too complicated when you're talking about the tax code. I actually think it sounds fine to me. I think this is just more...
Do you think Romney needs to do more? Are we going to see a big policy speech before the first debate?
We need to see a big policy speech before the debate.
Dan, you think so?
He needs to fill in those details.
It feels like that they know that.
Right.
Yeah,
The debates
coming.
provide
It has
that
to come.
format, though.
Well, but do you wait till the debates? Dan,
I would think ituld be better not to do it before the debate.
Shameless plug. Susan, I'll start with you.
I'm going to plug our stable of columnists today, Byron York and Michael Barone, who are summing up the conventions and what they mean for both parties.
But I don't want any plugs for Con Carroll and his West Coast sports problems. Anyway, Michelle.
Capital City chapter of the Links Incorporated is sponsoring a health walk on Saturday here in Washington, D.C. at Haynes Point from 4 to 7 p.m. Come on out and join us.
All right, and Dan.
Our friend Sasha Ischenberg publishes The Victory Lab, a very interesting book on the secret science of
total
campaigns.
Geekdom there. I cannot wait. Mine is for Dominion Power. Thank you for keeping my power off over this weekend, because actually I didn't have to watch the Packer debacle or the Dodger debacle that all took place on the left coast. That's it for this edition of the Daily Rundown. We'll see you back here Wednesday, tomorrow morning. MSNBC.